that was my worst date experience. He definitely has a nickname amongst my friends as Elcheapo.
Now, why didn't the date go well?
So when I ordered my drink, I put my card down for the tab. I went to the restroom.
Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book. You know what time it is. Talking to you guys ready today about Ready to Love, dealing with Kyra and also dealing with AJ. This is part 2. If you haven't watched part 1, go watch it. I broke down their entrances. Now we're talking about the famous incident of Elcheapo. First of all, I'm not gonna lie to you, I didn't like that. I didn't like that, because had it been a man labeling a woman a certain thing because of what happened in a relation, what happened in a dating scene, we might have had a certain little issue. But I understand why she said it, but I don't agree with it, right? Like, and I'm just being open. I like Kyra. I think Kyra is amazing, beautiful woman, well poised, crafted. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't like that particular term, you know, that, well, I should say the term that she brought out, because we didn't need to know that. If that's what your girls call him, that's what your girls call him. I didn't like that. But we're going to break down the issue, because there's some things that he said in their exchange also, which I didn't like either. There's some things that AJ mentioned. I was like, wait, brother, listen, you just had to be honest, and you weren't. Like, bro, there's no way around it. But anyway, let's get into the review. But before we do, if you like this kind of analysis where we go deep, break down dating examples and give you the psychology, like, share, subscribe, and then click on the bell button for notification of the what up lows. And for those of you who are also returnees, well, you already know what it is, baby. You got the minerals. You got the minerals. Yeah. Stay hydrated. Let me get my juice and let's kick the show off. Let's get the show off. Let's play a little bit more of the clip and go on.
And I came back. You know how you could just tell it had not been touched at all?
Like it was waiting on you to get back?
It's not customary for me to pay for a date when I'm getting to know a guy.
Now, here's my thing I don't really understand. I'm really confused automatically, right, from the jump, right? And we're going to get to AJ's part, don't worry. But I'm confused. So you went to the toilet, your card was down for the tab. He didn't pay it, or it hadn't been touched. And I feel like I'm a little bit confused. What did you leave your card there for? Are you talking about because was it your credit card? Was it the card that you paid for the restaurant? Maybe, you know, some restaurants have a selective card that you use to pay for. What was the card being put down for? Let me just go back a little bit and see if we can get that information, because I've heard it several times. I'm still not fully understanding what she's saying.
I put my card down for the tab. I went to the restroom and I came back. You know how you could just tell it had not been touched at all?
Like it was waiting on you to get back?
Okay. I'm guessing she meant the tab hadn't been touched, and potentially as well the card that she put down. I'm guessing maybe that's like the card for the restaurant potentially. I'm not 100% sure. If it is her credit card, I don't know why you would be putting your card down if you weren't going to pay it. I'm not sure what that actually meant. And at the same time as well, if it was just a card for the actual restaurant as well. Again, you know, do you know what's interesting about human beings? We expect and don't say. These are the norms and these are the rules that we obey without actually saying anything. So I understand. Again, remember I said this in my first review about Kyra. She's a gamma type of woman, which gamma women want to be chased. They want to be desired. They want to be pursued. Okay, and so the date not being paid for by AJ is a way of saying you don't want to pursue me. I'm not valuable enough to be pursued. That's the type of woman that she is. Okay. And so when we see those kind of women who are gamma, they like that chase, they like that pursuit, they like to be wanted. We saw that in the first review as well, right? And so we'll play a little bit more of the clip and then we'll come back again to answer the story.
It's not customary for me to pay for a date when I'm getting to know a guy. I don't play chicken when it comes to stuff like that. If you are not going to step up, that's cool. I'm gonna keep it moving.
It's been an interesting day.
Okay, I get it. You know, she said, obviously, look, you know, if you're not gonna, she doesn't pay for a date when she's getting to know a guy. I mean, this is why I told you this date thing for me doesn't make sense. I don't be dating people that I don't know. I just don't understand it. Like, this is why I said I don't be dating people I don't know. Yeah, if I'm gonna date you, I'm going on a date. I already know you some sort. I've already had conversation. I've already had conversation and talks. I know you in some level or form or shape, and so therefore, me paying for you ain't really much more of a problem. Now, when I was younger, I just didn't care. But when I'm obviously older, I understand the premise and why people do it. But again, in my head, I'm like, yo, like, if I don't know you, why? You see, because this whole stuff it starts from expectation, and when there are silent expectations, people make assumptions from whatever action is being taken at that moment, right? And so, you know, she says obviously when she goes out, she doesn't pay for dates. I don't know what that means. It really depends on what she has to explain it a little bit more. Does that mean one date? Does that mean the first date? Does that mean that in dates in general? What are you actually meaning? What are you actually saying? I think if you're on a dating stage, guys, please be very concrete and clear with yourself. And also as well, guys, like this is why I say conversation is important. Because people just want to have expectations that are not said. If you were talking beforehand, you could have stated this expectation like, hey, look, I'm not gonna lie to you. This is what you paying on the first date means. But we kind of go like, this is something I'm not gonna say. I expect it. Why are we in this mode of, as we're adults, of just expecting stuff and never saying? I know it's a rule that in society men pay for dates. I know that's a rule that's unspoken, but we are in 2021. So I'm saying, why are we not having these conversations at first to know who we're dealing with? The type of man that you're dealing with. We're just going out on dates. I never understand this thing. We just go out on dates. People, can we get to know people? Maybe it's just me. But anyway, listen, let's focus on the actual thing at hand. I'm sure people will disagree with me. Comment down below. If you disagree with my premise, comment down below. Let's get fully into the review here as well. Okay. Now, she mentioned obviously it's the worst date as well going forward. But we get far more of a storyline later on when they meet each other in the yard. Let's have a look.
So like engagement. Even though it was so long ago, for whatever reason, I was still holding a bit of a grudge against AJ for my worst date.
Now, it's interesting. Isn't it interesting that she still holds a grudge after only, 2 days? Only 2 dates, you know. 2 dates. My girl still holds a grudge over the incident that happened. And I'll tell you why she has a grudge on that still happens. I think the grudge, because all that happened is that he didn't pay for the date, by the way. That's the only thing from what we're hearing anyway. And obviously, I think there was some after bits as well. But I think she was in some way, you know, enamored by his looks. Maybe enamored is a very strong word. She liked his looks. She liked the look of him. She liked the feel of him. She liked the sound of him. She liked the taste of him. And in your head, you kind of almost make, oh, this could go somewhere. And you start to emotionally invest in the idea, not the person, but in the idea. And then when that gets shattered in the way that it does, which they're going to explain in a second or two as well, it can be a little bit like, I feel a little bit hurt by that, right? Because surely it was like only the second date. Why are we still feeling a certain type of way, right? Unless it's really recent and we don't know about, right? We didn't get any timescales. So why would it be that on the second date that he didn't pay, that ends up being the worst of a date? And I think it's what she's going to say later on as to why she feels the way she feels. And we'll come to that in a second or two. But I want to let the video play itself.
Finally have this moment where we could talk about it. I want to beat him up a little bit for it. I'm not going to lie. When I reached out to you afterwards and expressed how I felt about it,
I also want to point this out as well. I don't want to make that the overly whole assumption, but it would look bad if he acted badly in the last interaction and didn't also, when he came to this interaction, try to say hello and rectify the situation. It would look bad if as a male, not even as a male, as an individual, sorry, and you fluffed up on the last time we met, and when I see you in person, I have to do the legwork again to come and now have a conversation with you about the incident. But then that might speak to the fact that if she did come to bring it up first, like I said, it did affect her. And two, if he didn't bring it up, does he really care? Or maybe he's embarrassed as to why he didn't bring it up. That's also a consideration as well. Let's play a little bit more.
Perspective was I needed to change my traditions or something like that.
All right, so let me come. I
don't know if you heard it very quickly. We're going to go just slightly back what she said here. Pay attention to what she says here. Right? Just slightly back.
When I reached out to you afterwards and expressed how I felt about it, your perspective was I needed to change my traditions or something like that.
Now, here's the thing. What you just heard was a gaslight. Let me say it again for you. He just gaslit her. And why am I saying that? If you know the story, you know why. She's said to him, when you reached out to me after the date, he said that you need to change your tradition on dating. But when we listen later on, we're going to realize it had nothing to do with her tradition in terms of dating. Again, it would be fine if he made that point, if that was his actual point, but it wasn't his actual point. His actual point was the fact that his card broke up and he didn't tell her the card broke up, and then she paid for the date. Okay, I don't know if he paid his way. It doesn't sound like it. She paid for the whole thing. That's not even just changing tradition. You've gone all the other way, bro. All the other way. I've always said this: if I don't know you, come with your purse. I come with my wallet. I don't know you from Adam. You come to eat. I came to eat. We've all come to eat, brother. Yeah. But the fact that you made her pay for the whole date, and you're saying it's a gaslight, because it's like what your really intention was that you tried to make it as if like this girl was wrong for having her particular values, but you really didn't believe in the value being wrong. You just didn't have the money to pay for the date, and then you were embarrassed, and then you spun a whole different yarn and flipped it onto her. That's where the gaslight is, right? That's where the gaslight is. Right, that's a lack of honesty, and you see how quickly it can descend into other behaviors.
All right, so let me complain on a partial portion of that story that I realize now that you didn't know.
Okay.
Now pause. Something else has happened here. He says, let me clear up the story. Let me clear up the pathway of what happened in this particular story that you, and listen to the tone, that you didn't know. Now, how the hell am I supposed to know if I asked you what happened and you decide to go off on one? If you decide not to tell the truth at the point in time, this is what I'm saying. This is bad decision after bad decision from AJ. You started off, got into a restaurant, you didn't have the money for the thing. If you had just said from the beginning, hey, look, Kyra, my card that actually works is not with me, is at home. Unfortunately, I don't have the money on the account. So, you know what, we're going to have to just do it. Is there another way we can do it? If you can pay for it and I can pay you back or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, or if you really believe that she should pay for it, say, listen, hey, look, can you pay for it? Because, you know, I really expect you to pay for it. Like, if that's what you feel anyway, I wouldn't advise it. But then he says, obviously, the portion of the story that you don't know, but you are the one that holds the story. And it sounds as if you lot had a conversation after and you didn't express that. Now, that's cheeky. That's cheeky because you didn't express that. Did you see what I'm saying? Right? You didn't express that. Let's listen on a bit more.
I don't know what it was that took place. The car that I had with me, that boy was out the game.
Okay.
And I was just...
So now he's letting us know, okay, the card that he used was out the game. Perfectly, it happens. You know, your car can get fraud on, or your car gets blocked because it's unusual payment somewhere. You know, these things happen. Okay, it's natural phenomenon, a natural event that happens to anybody at any given time, right? And that's why we always say carry multiple cards, or, you know, carry cash with you sometimes as well, just in case anything like that happens. But irrespectively, it doesn't really matter. You had a card, it didn't work. Okay, it didn't work. Now, okay, just explain that to her at the time. Right? So now look what's gonna happen. Listen to what he's gonna say. Okay.
Looking like, man, the most disaster date was kind of embarrassing on my end because she had a tab open. While she's in the bathroom, I try to pay for it with this card.
So now we've got a whole situation where now the two stories are now linking. Now she had a tab open. She's gone to the bathroom. I'm guessing gone to the bathroom to see if he'll pay for it. I'm guessing it was a test. Gamma woman test you. This is why Winter was testing, trying to see who would fight for her love, Anthony or Jay. This exact same thing. And that's why she went to the toilet. She was testing him. Yeah, Sis gonna tell you that she weren't, but she was. She want to see. Let me see if he's gonna pay for this stuff, because it's about the desire. It's about the desire. And a lot of these behaviors are not conscious. They're subconscious that you just do. And so there's a desire to test to see, will he pursue? Will he make the right choice and actually come out and pay for the date? That's why the natural thing was to say Elcheapo. Because you tested him and he failed the test. And then you give him a label. Just like you would give a result to a test. A, B, C, D, E, or F, G. And so you got this one, which is an E, Elcheapo. Right? So now let's listen to this. Let's listen to what he's going to say.
They let me know, no, your card has been declined. So I was just like...
Look, card decline is nothing. Card decline is not abnormal. It happens, bro. Card decline can happen because you've got no money in account, insufficient funds. It can happen because there's fraud. It can happen because the bank has seen a payment where they don't like the teller machine might be broken in terms of your card. Sometimes it happens. The magnetic strip can go a bit funky at the moment. There's so many things that can go wrong at that moment. It's just simply explaining to the person, hey, something has gone wrong. Can I pay you back? Do you know what I mean? And it saves a whole madness and issue, okay?
This shouldn't be that big of a deal. I'll just let her pay for it.
Now, here's the thing. This shouldn't be that big of a deal. Okay, so here's the thing. Bear in mind, he's already explained earlier on that that part of the story that was missing was his card was broken. He never explained that to her. Then in his mind, he knew, he's not, let's be honest, he knew that it would be a big issue not to say anything, because you didn't say anything. If you had said something, then I'm rocking with you, AJ. I'm with you. I'm like, yeah, it shouldn't be a big deal. You explained it and said, my card broke down. Can you please pay for it? It shouldn't be a big deal. Oh my gosh. Let me get some water and stay hydrated. Stay hydrated. But he didn't explain the situation. So old girl's left with her own thoughts and everything like that. And then now it comes to the payment. She's going to have to use her card. And you're saying you didn't think it would be a big issue? If you didn't think it was going to be a big issue, you would have explained your card wasn't working. It was a big issue and you knew it. You didn't think it would be a big issue, yet you failed to acknowledge and mention to her, my card is not working. Why? Because it was a big issue. That in itself is dishonest, right? And I'm not trying to say he's a bad guy. I'm saying he chose a bad action at that point. He chose his pride over just being humble and saying, hey, look, my card ain't working. And in the long run, if this is a behavior that he does normally, this is very dangerous for any woman to be in. When I say dangerous, in terms of loyalty, in terms of a long-serving relationship. Not that he's dangerous to your health or anything like that, but in terms of a long-standing relationship. Because his pride will speak before his humility. And his pride will cause him to do certain actions that will not fit with the brand of a relationship that has loyalty, love, faithfulness, care, kindness in it. Because when the pride kicks up a storm and it goes before the humility, you perform in a certain way, right? You perform in a certain way. Let's listen to this part here that he's saying as well, right? Okay.
And it was.
But I would have respected that. I mean, if you would have been like, hey, I got the wrong card.
It just sounds...
Now pause. What did she just say? If you had told me that your card, wasn't working, you got the wrong card, I'd have been like, all right, cool. But you didn't explain that, which is why I'm saying the previous point about you saying, I didn't think it'd be a big deal. No. You knew it'd be a big deal. And now you're not being honest about the pride that's speaking before your actual humility.
Horrible.
And then your response thereafter was very snappy.
And so you hear him say, it sounds horrible. The thing sounds horrible. It doesn't sound good. You're right. It doesn't sound good, sir. But, this is why honesty is so important. Honesty is a trait that lends itself proactively. Transparency is me asking you. But honesty is about me being proactive and go forth. It's a principle that I live by, honesty. Transparency is what you see through me. But honesty is about what I put my foot forward to. Okay, and you're gonna hear. You might have missed it as I was speaking. She said, obviously, and your response after. Listen to how the pride is gonna work its way in. Listen, let me just go back a little bit so you can listen to it.
It was very snappy.
It was, because I was trying to smooth it out, and there was no smoothing to be had.
Now listen to what she said. Obviously, the aftermath of it, when she tried to explain the scenario, or probably tried to explain whatever, or try to have a conversation with him, he then became snappy at that point. And he said, yes, because at that point, I was trying to smooth it out, but there was no smoothing it out. You mean, and this is the point, once you choose not to do the right thing at the right time, you don't choose to do honest things at the right time, even at the cost of your pride at that moment, the pool of dishonesty has to grow. The pool of dishonesty will continue to grow because you should have chosen at the very beginning to tell the truth. And now to cover up the fact that you didn't tell the truth at that point, it's getting larger and larger and larger and larger because you didn't choose the truth at the very, very beginning. All right? Because you didn't choose the truth at the very beginning. Okay, and so now you've not chosen the truth at the very beginning. You've got to do what? You've got to snap. You have to. And you have to gaslight. Why? Because there's no other way out of the situation now without you looking bad. And remember, I told you about men especially, their name and their reputation is a big thing for them. They don't want to look bad. I don't want to be a bad
We
newbie.
all make mistakes. I'm not gonna chop your head off over something minor like that. But if you like lie about something and then try to make me the bad guy, that's gonna be a problem.
See what she said there? You lie and then make me the bad guy? That's gaslighting 101. AJ, if you're watching this review, okay, the best thing to do after this is just apologize to old girl. Say, listen, look, I'm not gonna lie to you. I was prideful at that moment. I gaslit you in that moment as well. I apologize. I've learned from it. That won't happen again. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I can take you out sometime and make up for that as well. Simple, done, right? Because look, that behavior is the behavior that we often exhibit are natural tendencies that we tend to go for. When we're under pressure, what do? When you're under pressure, do you go for the lie? When you're under pressure and it's not working your way, do you quit? When you're under pressure and it's not going your way, what do? Do you surrender? You see, under pressure, it makes diamonds, and it also lets us know what is your natural inclination to do. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're paying attention to this. Natural inclination under pressure. What do people do? Because that's a key thing. Key thing. Let me see key.
People grow, they make mistakes, they learn. There were things that I've done in previous relationships that I wouldn't do anymore. I said that I'm here, ready for love. You said that you're here for the same thing. So I'm hoping that you pursue that differently.
No fumbles this way.
And I definitely believe that she finds him attractive and likes him. That's why she's willing to give him a second chance and everything like that as well. If you look at her body, if you look at her a little bit of a smile on her face and the way she's even addressing him, I think she's still open to having conversations and still being open to getting to know AJ on a more personal level. So I'm sure we'll see more of them as it progresses. I don't think they're going to go any further. Reason why, just because of that initial situation, she ain't never gonna forget, but he also too will never forget that he fluffed up. And sometimes it's very, very hard for men to go back to a place where they fluffed up. Even if everything's all kosher, in his mind he's thinking to himself, it's not a clean slate, and so I have to go elsewhere. So it'll be interesting to kind of see what happens at the very end. But yeah, I think we'll leave it there. Guys, if you like the review, make sure you click down below, like, share, and subscribe. Click on the bell button for notifications of uploads. And for those of you who are returnees, you already know what it is, baby. You got the minerals. You got the minerals. You got the minerals. Stay hydrated.